this video, we're going to look at the important topic of ethical considerations that will impact a business. But you might be thinking, what even is ethics? What does an ethical consideration actually mean? Before we look at business ethics, let's first simply think about ethics and what this term means. The best way to do this is to introduce two new keywords. Firstly, on one side is ethical, and on the other side is unethical. If you make an ethical decision, you are doing the right thing, the morally correct thing. If you do something unethical, you are doing something wrong, making the wrong choice. But it's not always as simple as that. There will be situations where that line between good and bad, between ethical and unethical, is a little blurry. Let's use a classic but simple example. You are in a sinking lifeboat. There's you, your dog, and a brain surgeon. There is simply too much weight on this sinking lifeboat, so you have to kick off either your dog or this brain surgeon that might save thousands of lives in the future. Now, if, like me, you love man's best friend, this might be a tricky decision. But for some of you it might be simple. The brain surgeon is going to save all of these people, so you would have no choice but to save this surgeon. You might think that this is the right thing to do. Now, let's say it's the same situation, but it's one of your parents, or one of your best friends. Is the decision as simple? Should you still save the surgeon who will potentially save countless people? This is what is known as an ethical dilemma, when that line between what is right and what is wrong is not as simple, when it's a little blurry. Now, stick with me and let me give you another scenario. To do this, I am going to introduce this video's main example. In this video, we're going to look at a hypothetical business. To all the teachers out there, show all of these videos without any ads and gain access to our growing library of over 500 teaching worksheets. Why not visit BizzWizard.co.uk to find out more? So, this is Dr. Smith, and he works at Smith Pharmaceuticals, a company that produces medicine. After years of hard work from Dr. Smith and the whole team, and a serious amount of money, Smith Pharmaceuticals have discovered the cure for cancer. So, now here's the thing. If they have developed the cure for cancer, this is a very valuable thing, as I'm sure you can agree. But the company have spent millions of pounds developing this medicine, so they need to charge a high price to customers to recoup all of this money that they have spent. That's fair, right? That's moral, that's ethical. But what about the patients who can't afford the medicine? Are Smith Pharmaceuticals going to refuse to give it to them? They can't be cured because they simply don't have enough money. You might be thinking they should give it to everybody. That's the right thing to do. But if they choose to do this, well, they will lose the company, and they will have to fire the whole team of over 100 colleagues. So, this is where business ethics comes in. This is when we look at the morally right, wrong, and appropriate action for a business to take in a particular scenario is or even should be. Business ethics is often guided by laws. We are told what is right and what is wrong by the law, and this keeps companies and individuals from engaging in illegal activity such as discrimination and bribery. However, other ethical principles can influence how employees treat one another in the business, the corporate social responsibility of a business, meaning how responsible businesses are for their impact on society, and how a business treats its customers and its suppliers. The purpose of business ethics, or we might say of a business being ethical, is to ensure a consistent moral attitude within the business, from those at the top of the food chain to the newest employees. It helps to ensure that everyone is treated with respect, fairness, and honesty. There are many stakeholder groups, such as customers, employees, suppliers, and the government who are interested in the ethical decisions a business makes. Is what the business is doing fair? Is it fair on their employees, their customers, society as a whole? Ethics could cover questions such as whether a business treats its staff fairly, pays them a decent wage, and avoids child labour overseas. Another consideration might be whether the business advertises in a fair and truthful way. For example, does it target kids with adverts for unhealthy food? Customers and other stakeholders are becoming increasingly interested in whether companies source their ingredients or components in a fair way, without exploiting people or their local environment, and if suppliers are paid a reasonable amount, and importantly, are they paid on time? Bring this video and over 100 more to life with fun, interactive games, quizzes, and case studies. Why not try the first 25 completely free by visiting BizzWizard.co.uk. It's important to understand from the beginning that when it comes to ethics, there is often a trade-off between ethics and profit. For example, if a fast food outlet is very popular with children, and they stop targeting their adverts to them, their sales may fall as a result, leading to a fall in profits. Maybe as a result, the fast food retailer has to shut up shop and fire thousands of employees. So we can think that it is wrong for the fast food company to advertise to children, but if not, they may risk failure. If a factory improves the wages of its workers, that will push up the running costs of the business, which might wipe out its profit, or it may decide to put up its prices to cover these increased wage costs, which may result in lower sales, and again, the business might end up out of action. And finally, if a supermarket chain pays the farmers who supply it quicker, the supermarket will have less cash in the bank, and may struggle to pay its staff on time due to cash flow issues. Staff don't get paid, it's not going to really motivate them. Unmotivated staff can lead to big problems and again, potential failure. So you see, it's not as simple as just doing the right thing. As an entrepreneur, you are going to have to make some ethical decisions, and it might not always be easy. However, this trade-off doesn't always mean that following ethical business practices is bad for business. Some businesses actively promote the fact that they are ethical. As an example, promoting the fact that they use fair trade ingredients, or are trying to reduce their packaging in an effort to minimize wastage. This might bring in customers, those customers who also want to make the right moral choice. So we had another key term there. You might be thinking, what is fair trade? Well, fair trade, defined simply, is when products, including food, drink, and many others, are sourced through a fair supply chain, where small-scale farmers, producers, and other skilled workers are treated with dignity, respect, equality, and fairness. Fair trade is when the price we pay for products, such as food, drink, fashion, and crafts, gives enough to the producers, the farmers that grew it, to cover the costs of their products, and to have enough left over to invest in their farms, or to feed their families. Sometimes you'll find fair trade products where you might not even expect to. Even Greggs use 100% fair trade coffee beans in all of their coffees. So if we grab a coffee at Greggs, we know that the farmer and their family are getting their fair share of the money that we have just handed over. You sometimes may hear the term ethical finance. Ethical financial decisions might include investing in the local community or allowing employees to engage with charity projects during working hours and still get paid. There's also been a lot of controversy about the low amounts of UK tax paid by some big international companies such as Google, Amazon, and Starbucks. Many of these companies are arranging their finances in a way so they pay less tax for their sales here in the UK. This would again be an example of an ethical decision that they have made, which may or may not have a negative impact on what we, their customers, think of them moving forward. So let's take a look at the potential advantages to a business of choosing to be more ethical. Nowadays, customers are paying more and more attention to the ethical standards of businesses. If they don't like what they see in terms of procurement practices, staff treatment, or a company's approach to paying tax, they may decide to shop elsewhere, to simply not give that business their money. By paying attention to doing business in an ethically sound way, a business could retain their existing customers, and potentially even attract new ones. A business may choose to focus on its ethical behaviour as part of its marketing strategy, actually advertise that it is going to become more ethical. It's certainly worked for many other businesses, like Lush Cosmetics, whose entire brand is built around being an ethical business. By making ethical decisions, a business will be able to avoid any bad publicity. In the 21st century, with the incredible rise in social media, getting wrapped up in a scandal for unethical practices can ruin a brand. And finally, ethical behaviour may also have an impact on recruitment and on staff retention. A business may find that they have a higher calibre of applicants if they are perceived as an ethical business, and staff who work there do so for a long time. Each of the video courses over at BizzWizard.co.uk also includes an interactive business case study that applies the knowledge learned to a real-world scenario. There are over 1,000 multiple-choice questions, each with detailed feedback, which tests students' understanding of the content. Why not visit BizzWizard.co.uk to find out more? So why would a business choose to be unethical? As we have seen, there are many advantages of being perceived as an ethical business. Why would a business want to keep buying stock from a company that might be using child labour? Why would a business not source environmentally friendly ingredients? Why would Dr. Smith and the team at Smith Pharmaceuticals not just give everybody this hypothetical cure for cancer free of charge? When it comes down to it, there is only really one fundamental reason a business would not want to be more ethical, and that is costs, and ultimately profit. It all boils down to money, money, money. If a fashion business paid a higher price for its goods to be produced in a way that didn't exploit workers, but instead paid them a living wage and offered them a safe working environment, then their costs would increase dramatically. This could mean that the fashion company's profits fall, or that they have to put their prices up. This might mean they lose customers who are not prepared to pay higher prices, but prefer fast disposable fashion. The reality is that most businesses would always want to do the right thing. As we have seen in this video, there are many advantages of choosing to do so, but it all comes down to money. Spending more money to be ethical, and making more money when being unethical. We've seen in this video that business ethics focuses on what is the right or wrong thing to do in business. Ethical factors can be very important to key stakeholders, including customers, suppliers, workers, and the government. And by making bad choices, a business may damage its reputation and lose customers or even staff. A business that makes good ethical choices may be able to use this to its advantage in its marketing campaigns and enhance its reputation. But as we've seen in our example of Dr. Smith, it's not always that easy. I mean, if somebody is sick, we should help them. But if we don't get paid, we can't run our business. We probably can't even cover the cost of producing the medicine, and then there's no cure for anybody. The lines of ethical and unethical can often be blurred, And the reality is, as an entrepreneur, you are going to have your own ethical dilemmas, and how you choose to face them may determine the destiny of your business. This has been the BizzWizard. See you in the next